Today, we're going to break down a key decision in off-grid living and survival planning: DIY versus bought shelter. What actually changes when you build your own shelter compared to buying a pre-made one? The difference is not just about money or materials, but about control, reliability, and long-term survival systems. Because at first, it seems simple. One option is cheaper and built by you. The other is faster and professionally made. But once you actually depend on it in real conditions, the differences become much deeper. Let's start with DIY shelter. At the beginning, DIY feels like freedom. You choose the location, the design, the materials, and the pace. You're not limited by factory standards or preset structures. You adapt to your environment. If you're in a forest, you use wood. If you're in a cold area, you prioritize insulation. This flexibility is the biggest advantage. A DIY shelter can evolve as you learn. Every mistake becomes a lesson, and every improvement directly reflects your understanding of the environment. But very quickly, the challenges appear. Because a shelter is not just a structure, it's a system. It has to handle wind, rain, temperature, moisture, insulation, ventilation, and durability all at the same time. Maybe it keeps you dry, but it's cold. Maybe it's warm, but it traps moisture. And that's the reality of DIY shelter. Trade-offs everywhere. Time is another major factor. Building your own shelter takes significant effort. You're not just assembling. You're sourcing materials, cutting, and shaping. Now let's shift to bought shelter. At first, the biggest advantage is immediate. The structure is already designed, tested, and optimized. You're installing something that already works. This changes everything about speed and predictability. A bought shelter is engineered. In practical terms, this gives you stability much faster. You know what to expect from it. But there's a trade-off here too. Because when you buy a shelter, you're not designing it, you're adopting it. If the design doesn't perfectly match your environment, you have to adapt to it instead of it adapting to you. If something breaks, you may need specific parts or external support. Repairs become harder over time. Now let's compare them directly. Weather resistance. DIY depends on skill. Bought shelters are consistent. Adaptability. DIY wins here. Maintenance. DIY is easier to repair if you understand it. DIY shelter is knowledge-heavy and adaptable. Bought shelter is effort-light, but dependent on design limits. But the most important factor is the person using it. A person who understands DIY principles can improve a bought shelter. The strongest approach is combining both. Use bought systems for efficiency and DIY knowledge to adapt. Long-term resilience comes from knowing how to maintain, adapt, and rebuild either one when conditions stop being predictable. If you want more deep, realistic breakdowns about survival systems, make sure to subscribe to Off-Grid Life Tech.